Hi, my name is Kenzie Smith, and this is my senior thesis project final oral presentation for INTS 4350, and my topic is The Millennial Revolution, Don't Get Left Behind. The U.S. workforce is undergoing a major shift in its employee demographic, with the generation commonly referred to as the millennials, now making up the largest segment of the workforce in this country. This presentation explores how human resource departments can take steps to ensure that their organizations are properly prepared to address the serious implications of this major shift. Today, the U.S. workforce is principally made up of three generations of employees: the baby boomers, the Generation X, and the millennials. The first generation is commonly referred to as the baby boomers. This group is the oldest segment and represents the generation which is born between 1944 and 1964. Baby boomers grew up in a thriving economy with an optimistic can-do attitude. They are generally seen as prioritizing job tenure and their careers over family and personal matters. They are viewed as being driven by material needs and a desire to be financially successful. They usually exhibit a strong work ethic and believe that success is achieved through long hours of work. The second generation is commonly referred to as the Generation X or the Gen Xers. This segment is comprised of the generation who was born between 1965 and 1980. Generation Xers, for the most part, grew up with both parents working. Their generation witnessed firsthand an unstable economy and organization downsizing, merging, or going out of business. They learned to rely more on themselves and prioritize being paid over tenure at a particular job or working collaboratively within a team. The third generation is commonly referred to as the millennials. This segment is the youngest group and represents the generation that is born between 1981 and 1995. The U.S. workforce is undergoing a major shift in its employee demographics. According to research conducted by the Pew Research Center, the millennials now comprise the largest segment of the workforce in this country, and this segment is likely to continue to increase in the near future. This shift has the potential to create a disruptive change in the workplace for many organizations that could be cataclysmic if left unaddressed. Millennials have generally grown up as a sheltered group by their parents. They have been repeatedly praised by their parents and told how special they are. Through their schooling, they have also grown up very accustomed to working in teams. In addition, they are used to multitasking, having grown up with busy schedules that involve many daily activities, such as sports and other extracurricular activities. Research suggests millennials share values that are generally different from the other generations, and these values may affect both the way that millennials view their coworkers and the organization, as well as the way that coworkers and the organization view them. The attitudes and expectations of millennials are also likely to affect the development and harmony of workplace relationships. In addition, research indicates that millennials share some unique characteristics that may require a different way of interacting with them than the organizations and their leaders are used to utilizing. Organizations will need to know how to adapt to this change in order to attract and retain this new and important generation of workers. This major shift in the workforce presents significant problems for organizations that, if left unaddressed, could lead to serious and dire consequences. The generational differences presented by millennials may be a cause for cultural clash in the workplace and disruption in the way organizations manage their employees. Organizations need to know how to adapt to this change in order to attract and retain this new and important generation of workers. This major shift in the workforce, combined with potentially disruptive nature of millennials in the workplace, presents a problem that is ripe for interdisciplinary approach to gain a better understanding of how to manage this complex problem. It is a problem that clearly meets the 4 criteria presented by REPCO to warrant utilizing an interdisciplinary approach. Repco's criteria for an interdisciplinary approach. Number 1, it presents a complex problem. Number 2, 2 or more disciplines offer insights or theories about the problem. 3, no single discipline can address or resolve the problem. 4, presents a societal issue or need that is unresolved. Although these are a number of possible disciplines that offer insight into this problem, 3 essential disciplines were identified for this study: psychology, organizational leadership, and human resource development. Number 1, psychology. This provides insight into millennials' beliefs and attitudes versus baby boomers and Generation X beliefs and attitudes, work, career, and life, factors that may cause disruptive behavior between millennials, baby boomers, and Generation Xers, factors that may cause millennials to feel happy and fulfilled at work. Psychology research. Research indicates that there are in fact fundamental differences amongst the 3 generations that may have profound effect on workplace behavior and relationships. Millennials are extremely tech savvy, lack awareness about online source of accuracy, have ability to disseminate information in a faster manner, crave support and encouragement, value open and regular communication, are team-oriented, and prioritize work as less central to everyday life. Organizational leadership provides insight into management of multi-generational workforce, how leaders can effectively manage and lead millennial workforce, accomplish corporate goals. Organizational leadership research. Generation baby boomers, their leadership characteristics include they prefer egalitarian leaders who are straightforward and fair and who embrace change and challenge their employers. Generation Xers prefer egalitarian leaders who are straightforward and fair and who embrace change and challenge their employees. The millennials prefer leaders who encourage a polite managerial relationship and who provide fast and continuous feedback and regularly share important organizational information. Organizational leadership research indicates millennials embrace a different leadership style: polite and civil, open communication, regular sharing of important information, fast and continuous feedback. Millennials do not favor managers who are condescending and sarcastic, treat them as they are too young to contribute. Human resources provides insight into millennial recruitment and retention, multi-generational relations, conflict management, and training. Human resource research. Research indicates millennials value organizations who exhibit balanced work-life issues, diversity, social responsibility, active mentoring programs, regular performance feedback, technology, and millennial input. Conflict management mitigated by a positive work environment, training methods designed for different generations. Conflict amongst disciplines. Psychology and organizational leadership research suggests organizations should tailor their practices to needs of each generation. Human resource development research suggests organizations should treat employees in an equitable and inclusive manner. Suggests serious legal ramifications if generations are singled out. In order to create common ground, I utilize the technique of transformation. This technique involves looking at the underlying assumptions for the 3 disciplines on a continuum. At one end of the continuum is the individuality assumption, utilized by psychology and organizational leadership. At the other end of the continuum is the equality assumption, utilized by human resource development. Upon further examination, both of these assumptions are in fact complementary. Each generation cannot be treated differently. There must be a system in place to treat all employees with equality and fairness. At the same time, it must be acknowledged that generational differences cannot be ignored. These differences must be understood and embraced in a fair and inclusive manner for all. In conclusion, research does indicate that millennials have behavioral characteristics that are predictable and unique. Organizations need to understand how these differences apply in their own workforce. Once they understand these differences, they can then examine and change their existing policies and training procedures in order to create a positive work environment, formalize mentor programs, develop flexible work options, embrace technology for the organization as a whole, and train their leaders to deal with multi-generational workforce. By understanding millennial behavior characteristics and changing existing policies and training procedures to account for these characteristics, organizations will be prepared for the millennial revolution and be guaranteed to not be left behind.